My only
Trump.
problem with this is that, like, they make it so easy to, like, they basically take us who, like, work our fucking asses off,
Mm-hmm.
and they give our money to people who fall for unemployment. And whereas,
Oh.
like, the Republicans are mostly like, "Hey, no, like, you work for what you get. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry about your bad luck."
So are you saying that you want to get rid of unemployment and then just increase poverty across the board? Is that what you're saying? I don't think that's a good way to address that.
I don't want to say I'm getting rid, like, I don't want to get rid of unemployment, but
Mm-hmm.
what I am saying is, like, it's way too easy to get on unemployment. So, like,
Right.
the people who don't want to work,
Yeah.
like, yeah, there are jobs available, like, and like I said,
I don't
there,
think it's that easy.
Well, and unemployment is insurance, so we pay into
And
it.
you're
But
paying into it for you if you ever need it. Like,
yeah,
it's something that you benefit from as well if
I
you
have
ever
a
get fired.
401k and I don't need unemployment, so I'm not
You
worried
can't
about it.
cash out your 401k if you get fired tomorrow. If you get fired tomorrow, you still need to let that sit until you're 65 and you can withdraw on it. Otherwise, you're taking huge
You
penalties for cashing out early. You should not use a 401k as
That's
unemployment
what I'm
insurance.
saying. Like, but
that's
what I'm saying
correct.
is, I'm not trying to get unemployment. I would prefer to work, but
No,
there are a
That's
lot of
fine,
people
but
that just
sometimes you
don't
get
want to
fired.
work.
Sometimes you get laid off.
yeah,
Sometimes they're not in your control.
that's
It,
true.
it, it has to be a necessary thing so you don't end up homeless. It's just one of those
Yeah.
things. You could get fired tomorrow. You cannot predict that. And
Mm-hmm.
thank God you have unemployment that you've been paying into that will come in and help save your ass so you're not on the streets.
Yeah,
People are already way too on the streets. We can't take care of
we
everyone.
do have a home.
Getting rid of
Here's another
unemployment would
thing.
just increase that.
Here's another thing. Like, there was literally, like, at one of my jobs, like, I had a homeless guy come in
Mm-hmm.
to one of my jobs. It was the salon I worked at. And he asked to borrow the phone. So my manager was like, "Yeah, like, we'll let him borrow the phone. He wants to call his mom." And he called his mom and was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm back on the streets. It's my own choice because, like, I can't stop drinking." Like, a lot of
And
them
that's valid.
that.
That's
That's
valid.
valid. But that comes back down to the mental health conversation that
That's
everyone
true.
wants to have. If you want to have the gun mental health conversation, it is the same one for this.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take care of people who are mentally ill, and drinking isn't necessarily a choice, it's an illness.
Right.
So, yeah, there are a lot of people out there on the streets who, quote unquote, choose
Mm-hmm.
to be on the streets, but they're not choosing it. Then no one chooses to be sick. It's that they don't have support to be better.
Right.
And if you look at places where they have
He was like
policies to put them up in an apartment and say you have to stay sober, but we'll pay for your apartment
No,
rent.
he
And here's the thing, they
he
do
was
much
like,
better.
Yeah.
he was like, "I want to continue drinking. I don't want to stop drinking. This is
That's
the
what
life I'm
disease
living."
is.
No,
That is what the disease tells you. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's a disease to an
Everybody
extent. Yeah.
wants to stay high. It doesn't mean that they want to be homeless and sick. It's just that the disease overrides your cognitive brain. That is what addiction is. And I
Okay.
don't think we should blame people for addiction. I think we should help them fix the addiction problem.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, I agree with that. Like, people should, like, have resources to fix their problems. But at the same time, it's like, hey, if I know this is killing me, I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
So it's like, it's still
Because you're rational. They're not. You have to understand that people who have addictions aren't thinking rationally. They're thinking instinctually. They're not using logic. And at that point, if you're so depressed and within a disease that's controlling your mind, at that point, a lot of people would rather die from drinking themselves to death than they would live another day depressed. Like, it's
I have been
more complicated than you think.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right.
But I've never been like, hey, let me just, like, die from something.
But I mean, but people are. People are.
People are dying from stuff.
It's
Mhm.
real.
And suicide is up as well. Yeah.
I had a cousin that committed suicide, and you would have never known he was suicidal because he was the happiest person you would have
Those are
ever.
the ones you have to watch out for, to be honest with you. Mhm. So what masking is true. So let me just ask this question. Matt, the Democrats have often focused on progressive social policies. What specific policy moving forward do you believe will reshape America's future the most?
Out of the progressive policies?
Yeah, there's a few of them on the Democratic side.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, the big ones, I try to avoid like the abortion talks and trying to get that codified because as important as I think it is, I think it comes back to again single issue voting, which I don't think is great.
Okay.
What I think is most important is definitely reinvesting in personally manufacturing jobs. I
Oh,
think
we have
need
to,
stronger unions.
for
The
sure.
fact that we no longer have unions. And I think that there has been policy talks, even though they're not as popular as you would say.
Yeah.
But I see it coming up with Kamala. So she recently proposed a new policy that is going to focus on entrepreneurship,
Okay.
where you can get a $50,000 grant to start your business.
Mhm.
Right now, they have about a $1,500 grant to start new businesses as a tax credit. And
Okay.
she wants to actually give interest-free loans of $50,000 to people to start new small businesses. And it costs about, on average, $40,000 in your first year to start a business between all the paperwork.
Oh yeah,
required.
it's
So
expensive.
she would cover
Mhm.
that up front. And I think that is what we need. So not only just manufacturing jobs, but just new innovative jobs. So there's so many people who have ideas and want to start things, but we're in this era of where we're owned by corporations.
We
We're
are.
owned by the Amazons, by the Walmart, and there
Go-
is no
mhm.
room for competition. That's why we see things like inflation, because inflation isn't caused by policies. Inflation is caused by corporate greed
I
and
think
by
so.
people wanting to make $1 billion more this year than they did last year.
Hmm.
And they will do whatever they need to. But if we had more independent businesses coming up and people actually being able to build their own way to wealth, their own
Right.
way to having a middle class income, I think that would change everything. And
Mhm.
we wouldn't be as reliant on trade. We wouldn't be outsourcing jobs. It would
Mhm.
change back to kind of a World War II, post World War II era where America was in this booming economy and everything was kind of locally done and sourced. And we need to
Okay.
kind of get back to that.
Okay. Now, Angela, let me ask you because Matt touched on a very specific topic. He didn't go into a lot of information on it, but you are a woman, and I'd be remiss not to ask you this question. What are your feelings on abortion rights?
Abortion rights, I think that it should be allowed because like it's going to cause women to basically like they're gonna try to do it on their own and they're gonna
Hmm.
get infections, they could
Yes.
Yeah.
die, like they could have like an ectopic pregnancy and it needs to be aborted, and if the US doesn't let them do that, like that's a problem.
Hmm.
But I also disagree with him on the union because
Okay.
we just overturned the union on my job because we don't like the union.
Oh, okay. So what don't you like about the unions?
I don't like about the union. So basically, they came like they were like harassing us, like trying to get us to like sign up to join the union.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they would like come to our houses, they would call
Oh,
us, like they were harassing us. And
they're like Jehovah's Witnesses,
join,
but for
we
unions.
joined the union. They promised us so much shit.
Right.
And we joined the union. And then everything they told us that was going to happen was a lie. They took away our
Wow.
vacation days. They took away our sick days. They took away so much shit
Uh-huh.
to where we petitioned to overturn it. So we actually did win and we overturned the union.
Wow.
I will
Okay.
say there's good unions and there's bad
Hmm.
unions. Like, for example, I used to be in the grocery workers union, and the difference is the contracts from new, because the unions don't have interconnectivity. Like, there used to be an intersection between unions. Unions would work together across industries
Yep.
to kind of one up each other. So, in the grocery workers union, for example, I was under a new contract in 2010. My
Hmm.
union guaranteed 25 cents more
Hmm.
than minimum wage. That's what I got. But I
Oh.
was paying about $1 per hour to be in that union.
Yeah. So
So I
that
was actually
makes sense.
losing 75
Yeah,
cents.
like what's the point?
So, but at the same time, the people who signed in the 90s and were in the grocery worker union had only 20-hour weeks. They were getting 40 vacation days a year. They
Wow.
were making $120,000 to be a cashier at the exact same store doing the exact same job I was. And people own two houses because being a grocery worker used to be an actual cushy job.
Yeah.
And because they joined the union in the 90s, their contract is grandfathered in, and they still only have to work 20 hours a week to make $120,000 a year. So the unions used to be good when there was support for the unions.
This is
The
true.
fact that we lost support is what is the issue. And they also have pensions. Going back to the 401k, the
Mhm.
401k has been proven to not work, and we're all going to be screwed for retirement.
Yes.
But those people, because they're good unions, have pensions, and they're going to be set.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we need unions for union's sake. I'm saying we need strong unions that will actually give us things like
Well,
pensions and
you
120K a year
not-
jobs.
We would prefer not to have a union because our union completely came up and screwed us. Like, it's like they tried to fuck
I
us.
get it. Like I said, my union, I was in the exact same union as the people who were bringing in bank in 2008, and I was still getting screwed because I was under the same union, different contract. And so, like, that is a legit thing to worry about.